Over the course of the next 5 days, I will give you each day a very good reason why you should start a podcast for your business. Let's start with number 1, reaching hundreds of potential customers and clients. Just imagine you have this platform where you can add content and people can download that content and listen to it for hours. Social media is usually fast and fleeting. People scroll through posts on Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms almost in a trance, sometimes not even really looking at what is passing by. So you need brighter colors and flashy fonts to grab their attention. When it comes to podcasting, people have a lot more patience. They listen to it while commuting, while cooking, or other activities. And when a podcast is good, they consume hours of content. They might find an episode through a search or get one recommended to them. And research has shown that if they like that episode, they're very likely to start at episode 1 and work their way through all of them. Can you imagine how much content that is? Generating leads through guests. Perhaps you want your business to expand in a certain area. You can invite a well-known person who is knowledgeable in that area to come onto your show. By having an insightful interview, you can dazzle the guest with your perspective and expertise. And say you have 10 guests on your show, and 2 of them decide to become your client. That's already 2 more clients than you have had before. These 10 guests can, if you ask them nicely, help to promote the episode on their social media platforms. So you're being exposed to a group of people in that particular area you want to expand in without too much of an effort. Or maybe these guests will mention your services to someone in their network. As you can see, podcasting can be an excellent way to network. We now come to number 3, repurposing content. One podcast episode can be repurposed in many ways. I will give you some examples. You can create audiograms, which are little tidbits of an episode, which you can play as a video on your social media channels. You can also create posts with quotes from the show and give added value by accompanying the post with an in-depth view of that particular part of the episode. Next to that, you can also use the podcast as a subject for a newsletter you send out to your customers and clients. The episode can be the trigger to give extra value, pop in a nice call to action, and any extra promotional material you may have going on at that moment. Number 4 is about the fact that people love to hear stories. They want to connect with each other. That is why social media is so successful. People want to learn from each other and view each other's opinions, agree and disagree. Get to know others and engage with them. And storytelling has been a vessel to create that connection since prehistoric times, when the only means of sharing and passing on the history of the ancestors was through storytelling. This feeling of wanting to connect with each other also applies in the corporate world. And what better way to give your customers a peek in the kitchen of your organization than by creating a podcast full of stories about processes, sustainability, partnerships, innovations, but most of all, stories from people for people. For example, employees talking enthusiastically about a new product or a new way of manufacturing. So make it fun, entertaining, educational, and especially personal. So last but definitely not least, number 5, you do not want to miss out on this trend. It is hard to exactly pinpoint the ROI of a podcast. It depends on all kinds of variables. But that is the same with social media, and that has integrated fully into day-to-day business. If you want to reach as many potential customers as possible, you need to make sure that you provide written and verbal communication. People are online almost all of the time, and some moments require reading, and other moments are better for listening, like, for example, commuting to work, driving a car, grocery shopping. For these moments, you want them to tune into your podcast. The podcast industry has grown exponentially, and it doesn't show any signs of slowing down. On the contrary, 2022 promises to be the year that branded podcasts will rise to heights never seen before. So, you do not want to miss out on this trend. You want to be ahead of your competitors. So, I hope I have convinced you of the importance of starting a podcast yesterday. Oh, and don't worry, you do not have to do this alone. We can support you with setting up your podcast and maintaining it by taking over the technical and nitty-gritty stuff while you focus on the content and the connection with your audience. Give us a call or write an email to info@lagorservices.com for a quick chat.